Well, hi, I'm Sailor Moon, and I'm Sailor Mercury, and today we're going to talk about this for kids, not for kids thing that's going around. Now, first off, I know that someone out there might look at this film and say, oh, well, there's dolls in it, and dolls are for kids. Well, that's not true. And I'm sure that folks in leadership know that there are both kids and grown-ups that both, have dolls. Either they gather dolls or whatever. It's not just kids that play with dolls and gather dolls, but grown-ups too. So I'm sure that they know that. They're not as out of date and not as and out of touch as folks believe. Now, there seems to be a lot of unanswered things. Now, most likely, if you pick not for kids, meaning your films were not made for kids, then that was your rating, or that was your watchers, or whoever your followers were who were watching your films. If you picked for kids, made for kids, it meant that you were making the films for kids and that the kids were your followers. Now, anyone that would know, anyone knows who they are and they know what films they're making. True. Now, are they going to come in and just look through channel after channel? They'll be there all day. And I don't think the FTC has all the time to be looking through every single channel, big and small, to say, well, it looks like they ain't following the law. To my understanding, following the law would mean picking one of the two, for kids or not for kids. And if anyone doesn't pick anything, they would most likely be the ones that be looked at, So I know that the ones that watch my films are grown up, okay? Even though I go on YouTube and there's not really anything there that you can learn to say that, but I know that to be true. And now a lot of folks believe, oh, they're just going to look at films and thumbnails and they're just going to say, that's for kids, that's for kids. Meaning that what? We would get in a hang up, they would sue us, or they would fine us. First off, we don't make any income from this film. We're not a YouTube mate. So, and we don't make any income at all from YouTube. So that would kind of be a sad thing. Anything you say about Sarah Mercury? Yeah. There have been a lot of haters over the years of our work on YouTube who have believed that we were making it for kids. But that's not true. We were making it for grown-ups, and the haters out there would love to see us go down one day over something as dumb as someone from leadership coming in and then saying that was made for kids. And what's the worst that can happen? They tell us, oh, well, you better make that for kids, and that's the end of it. And then we have to go on and shift made for kids every single time or shift it over made for kids every time we make a film. Okay? I hardly doubt they're gonna say, better get them a look, better sue them or something. We need to, see if they're guilty or not guilty of doing wrong acts on the interweb. Or, hey, let's fine them. The only guess is they'd probably just say, you're making stuff for kids, I'll put it on for kids. That's probably the only thing they would say. It's not like, I'll throw him in, put us in lockup, on their belief. they would actually have to look at the film itself to see if the film itself was doing anything wrong. You know, a thumbnail isn't going to tell you anything about the film. You have to watch the film yourself to see every single thing that goes on it. You know, or maybe it works like this. Maybe YouTube has to go send them films of anyone who makes kid content for them to look at it and say it's good, it's good, it's good, it's not good. Meaning that if someone is doing something wrong or something, or I don't know, Sarah Mercury says, let's say that they want to look at some channels, then I guess they would pick the big channels most likely, because those are usually the ones they usually pick. Anyone as a YouTube mate, those are probably going to be the ones they're going to probably end up having the FTC look at. They're not really going to have them look at small channels unless the small channels are YouTube mates. Unless the big channels and the small channels are YouTube mates, then yeah, they might have those. But if you're not a YouTube mate, they're not going to say, I think you should look at this channel, you know? Or you should look at this fairway, or you should look at these films. That's what I believe. So I think one way that I am well from this, Sarah Mercury, one thing I think I'm kind of going short, Sarah. One way I think I'm safe from it is that I'm not a YouTube mate. I never was. Look back to all my old YouTube channels, even the one I have now, and I have never been a YouTube mate. I have never made any income from YouTube at all. All my films have never had any kid stuff in them. There were never no kid show players of any kind. There were never no overlappings with anyone who was making stuff for kids in these films. There was never no kid songs. Well, maybe there were. No, there wasn't. And there was never no kid toys in it. Now, if you're going to look at the dolls and you're going to say, well, dolls could be for kids, well, you have to also keep in mind that dolls are also for grown-ups, and some grown-ups actually gather dolls. So you can't just, lump everything into one thing and say everything's for kids when it's not. Plus the way I look at it is there's never been any kid stuff in this film. And I'm sure that the only ones that are going to get their films looked at are going to be the YouTube mates, the big channels and the small channels. Those are going to be the only ones that YouTube's going to say, okay, look at these films and tell us what you think, FTC. Those are going to be the only ones they'll do it. They're not going to show them non-mates. They're going to show them YouTube mates, since these are going to be the ones that YouTube basically watches over and knows what they're doing. These are going to be the ones that YouTube can pull out right away and give to them. So they're going to give them the YouTube mates. Those are going to be the ones that are actually going to be the ones that get looked at. The ones that are actually making income from the films. The ones that actually do have, kid stuff in their films, or have kids in their films, things like that. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be looked at, and those are going to be the ones that are going to be either said, okay, yes, they're good, or no, they're not good. But they're not just going to, because there's too many, even though the FTC might say they have all the time in the world to look at every single channel, I don't really think they do. So I think what YouTube's going to do is, YouTube is just going to give them all the mates, the big ones and the small ones. And those are going to be the ones that the FTC is going to look at. Because those are going to be the ones that are actually doing all the kid stuff in their films. Those are going to be the ones, okay? So it is what it is. So I marked it not for kids. And hey, if that was the wrong thing to do, how am I supposed to know? You give someone two picks. You say made for kids, made not for kids. well, it is what it is, you know? And I think I know what I put in my own films, you know? So it is what it is. Yeah, before we end this film, I think we know what is or is not in our film, and I think we know what we're making our films for. You know, we make our films for grown-ups. Since grown-ups are the ones that watch our YouTube channel, have watched our YouTube films, and the ones that have wrote on our YouTube films, and I think anyone from the FTC could look at that and they're going to know that, you know, if they look at it. I don't really think they are. You know, they don't got all the, they got they don't think they got way too much other stuff they have to do to keep everyone well from evil business doings. I don't really think they have all the time in the world to look for every single film that everyone's made. So most likely what Sailor Moon said, they're going to most likely just look at the YouTube mates. You know, the ones that are making an income, the big ones, the small ones, the ones that are doing the kid-friendly films, and the ones that aren't doing kid-friendly films, but they're YouTube mates and they're making an income, and kids might want to watch their stuff. You know, so those are going to be the ones that are going to get their things looked at. And then the ones that happen to have kids as their followers, those are going to be the ones that are going to get looked at. Not us. You know, not us that makes no income from YouTube at all. Not us that had no kid stuff in our films at all. No kid toys and no kid songs, no kid show players, and nothing to do with any kids at all. Except for talking about this, that's about it. I'm Sailor Moon. I'm Sailor Mercury. We'll see you later.